Good morning, everyone. This is Mr. Hookins. I am away today because my daughter isn't feeling very well, so I'm just going to record a translation of the most recent chapter that we've done in order for you to work through it yourselves and make sure that you are comfortable with all the different types of words that are in there. My apologies, the translation that I'm actually using here has some mistakes in it occasionally, and it's also got the occasional bit of English translation as well, but it'll be fine. Okay, Magister. The captain, qui, to whom, you know I would ask you about that kind of word, and that's because it is a relative pronoun. Relative pronouns go in the same gender and the same number, but they go in the case that is required in its own clause. Now, even though magister is nominative, it is the captain to whom Flaccus had now given over the fare, so in this case it is dative singular. Called Quintus onto the ship, Flaccus, of whom the eyes, relative pronoun, genitive, whose eyes were filled, lacrimis, ablative, with tears. Turned around to Quintus and he said, "Farewell, my dearest son." Farewell, dearest son. Carissime, you would say adjective, singular, vocative. And the reason is because somebody has been addressed, and it is, of course, a superlative adjective. Cum primum, when first you have arrived at Greece, ad veneris, that is a future perfect. Write, scribe, imperative, singular. Write a letter to us immediately. It should be full stop. Day, the gods, future tense, will care for you, will save you. For you are a boy of bono ingenio, for you are a boy with good character. That is an ablative of quality. Quintus, holding his father in an embrace, present, so verb, singular, nominative, present participle describes the subject. Complexu, ablative, because it's in his embrace, with his embrace, said, "Farewell, dear father," vocative care. "I promise this, when first I have arrived, future perfect, at Greece, I will write, future tense, a very long, superlative, adjective, accusative, singular letter to you, vobis, dative, plural, in which, relative pronoun, ablative, follows in which I will tell you, future tense, first person, singular, you get the point, in which I will tell you everything about the journey. And you, when you have arrived at Venusia, future perfect, give, plural, very many, so that's a superlative adjective, accusative, give very many greetings, give most greetings to Horatia and to Argus, who is still alive, as we found out last lesson, much to your delight. If it will be pleasing, future tense, days to the gods, dative, I will, future tense, first person singular, I will see you all soon. Flaccus turned around and without delay he hurried from the harbour. E portu. Quintus was watching him abeuntem, present participle accusative singular. Quintus was watching him going away. Then he boarded the ship. The sailors, relative pronoun, dative, to whom the captain had given, pluperfect tense, had given a signal. You see it says surrender there, you don't surrender a signal, had given the signal, released the ship. When they arrived at the open sea, they sustulerant vela, they raised the sails, vela there, neuter noun. Quintus, who, relative pronoun nominative here, does agree with the subject, because it is the nominative in its own particular clause, who was standing on the stern of the ship, was looking back at the shore, unaware of the future. He was never again going to see, that's actually a future participle, going to see his father or his mother or his sister. Iter, the journey on which Quintus was entering, so that's actually relative pronoun accusative singular because it's the journey Quintus was entering upon which was long and difficult. Having sailed, that's a past participle, having sailed along the whole shore of Italy, at last they arrived at Sicily and they sailed through the straits of Messina. On the right had lived Scylla, the monster with all the heads, who, quae, relative pronoun nominative, who had seized the comrades of Ulysses and had eaten them alive. On the left had been Charybdis, notice fuerat, had been, not was, it's had been, pluperfect tense, a terrible whirlpool, who had almost swallowed down Ulysses himself. Quintus caught sight of Mount Etna far away, projicentem, accusative present participle, describes the object, hurling flames into the sky. He recalled Aeneas and the Trojans into his mind, quos, whom the Cyclops had nearly eaten. Quos, relative pronoun, accusative, plural, describes the object. From there, they were sailing through the open sea to Greece. There was no land now in sight, everywhere sky, everywhere sea. Suddenly the winds grew, the waves become maiores, comparative adjective, become bigger, the clouds darken the sky. The ship was in maximo periculo, was in very great danger, superlative adjective. viatores. The passengers were weeping and were praying to the gods. The sailors themselves were despairing and were fearing death. But the captain who, relative pronoun, nominative, who turned the prow, the front of the ship, into the storm, saved the ship. Soon the winds fell, or fall. The waves become minores, comparative adjective, become smaller, comparative adjective, nominative. All gave thanks to the gods, dative, because they had escaped unharmed from the tempestate, from the storm. The remainder of the journey, or they finished, the remainder of the journey without danger. And decimo die, on the 10th day, not for 10 days, that would be Thleck, silly person that did this. This is Twab. And on the 10th day, they arrived at Piraeus, the harbour of Athens. And the next story is the comprehension that we did yesterday. I might as well go through that. The ship at last was tied to the pier. Quintus got off onto the land and he hurried to the city. Cupiens, wanting to arrive there before nightfall. Cupiens, present participle. It was evening when they arrived at the Agora, when he arrived at the Agora, but the moon was shining, which was lighting up the Acropolis for a long time. He was looking at everything. He was able to see the Parthenon, the most famous, superlative, the most famous temple of the goddess Athena, and many other monuments about which, so that's an ablative relative pronoun because it follows day, about which he had often read in his books. Tandem, at last he returned to the inn, and he wrote a letter, just as he had promised his father. Quintus gives his greetings, gives very many greetings to his dearest father and mother and to Horatia. Today I arrived at Athens. The journey was superlative, was very difficult, and not without danger, but at last on the 10th day, Twab, we arrived unharmed at the harbour. I hurried immediately into the middle of the city, and I saw all of those noble monuments about which I have so often read. And you, my dearest ones, how are you? Omnia cupio, I want to hear all the things which are happening. Locative, as we said yesterday, which are happening at home. Are the crops good? Is Argus well? There he is, alive again. Scribite, write to me immediately. Soon I will write, future tense, scribam, third conjugation verb, looks like it's an accusative noun, doesn't it? Soon I will write an comparative, a longer letter to you. Take care, curate ut valeatis. Take care that you're well. Curate, an imperative. Very well done, everyone. I look forward to seeing you. I very much hope tomorrow morning. I should be back tomorrow morning. Thanks, everybody. Bye.